And so one of the kids actually told me, he was like, we went to Austin and I saw some like not so great houses. And then I saw some really expensive, and he was like, I saw that before, but then I thought about the class. He was like, that was gentrification. And so then he started that conversation with his family of what that looked like in the car. So we want to start building those skills because we want to be positive futurists, if you will. You want to add, Jen, to that? Okay. So what's a co-op? A co-op? Oh, put in the chat if you've ever been a part of a co-op. It's always interesting to hear because I think people who've never been to a co-op before and then they join for the culture, they're like, this is cool. And then there's some of us who've been a part or tried to be a part of other co-ops and it wasn't such a great experience. So those of y'all who like find us first think it's such a great experience a lot of times, and y'all got lucky because it's rough out here. So it's rough for like a lot. So what's a co-op? So it is a collaborative community for parents and students. We do expect active parent involvement in teaching. We want a diverse array of classes and classes that offer hands-on learning activities and then social interaction, development, and like build friendships, deep, long friendships. A lot of our kids in our co-op have known each other for 4 or 5 years at this point, and so they're wanting to grow new connections and new friendships. And we're connecting with like-minded families, and we want to promote academic, social, and emotional growth. So for the first half of the 6 weeks, we have like the morning meeting, and we were doing social, emotional learning activities on like how to just like be aware of others' feelings, friendship skills, and they were just like little things we were doing for the first like 25, 30 minutes of the morning. And then sometimes we do like morning shout outs. And so some kids like to share just like some really good glows that are happening. And it really like gives us positive energy for the rest of the day. Is for the culture the place for your family? So if you like diversity and you value inclusivity, we're definitely the space. And if you're committed to just academic excellence and like really doing a deep dive with not just your kid, but other kids, we would really value your talents in our space. And like when Nicole Donovan was talking about her like young chef's class, y'all, I think we did post like the reel or the story. These kids learned skills that I have to watch TikToks to learn how to cut in Julianne style, and like everything I rough chop, so that's all you get from me. But she really was very intentional of like how to hold a knife. This is the type of cutting. This is what kind of cut this is called. And so it was really cool that they got to learn cutting skills that I have yet to master. But that took a lot of intentional planning on her end for her to bring that to the community and make sure that they were safe and that they learned a new skill. And we appreciate that time, that in detail she put in her class. Angela's been a part of a co-op before, and they were the only family of color, and it wasn't a great experience. I am so sorry that happened to you. Yeah, so you know, sometimes, yeah, that, especially in co-ops, diversity is lacking. We are a queer forming supportive community. We believe in equality and we definitely support LGBTQIA plus rights. And if your kids have different pronouns, please communicate that with us and we will definitely respect it. And we love pro science. And if you've been homeschooling for a while, you know this is a whole little sticky thing, but we definitely value pro science, authentic science for our kids. One of the moms taught actually like a cool in-depth dissection class the last 6 weeks. So, and she was very, very intentional about the explanation and use authentic science terms. And we definitely are shying away from like the creationism that's not welcomed here. But we really want you to dig deep and find like authentic science experiences. And so because we are centering Black and Brown experiences, we definitely want allies in the space to really be actively working towards being anti-racist, and to truly understand what anti-racist means. Do you need something? I don't know. Sorry. And so anti-racist means it's a continuous conversation. It's a continuous like education. It's not like I read one book and I am anti-racist and all of my biases are gone. No, it is continuous conversation, especially here, to make sure you're not causing harm to any of the kids. And we know with the current political climate, things are just getting dicey and there's a lot of big emotions around those things. But we just want to make sure that if you're in the space and you're an ally, that you're constantly working on yourself and like being open to the people in the space, especially the people of color, saying, hey, this was an ouch. Let's talk about how we can move forward and make sure this doesn't happen again. And it's not enough. I mean, and sometimes when people get redirected in that way, you can be defensive, but we also want to make sure that we understand you might be defensive in the moment, but come back to the conversation with an open heart and open mind. And so even when you're not in this space, that means you're doing the work. So you're speaking up against racism, you are supporting policies that promote equality, you're actively working to dismantle systemic racism, and that you fully understand that systemic racism is a thing. Like, you can't be anti-racist and not fully understand what systemic racism is. In the current school system, especially here in San Antonio, a great example is redlining. And so that's why kids, especially kids of color, and in like San Antonio ISD, aren't receiving the best education. But then you have a little center of Alamo Heights, whose test scores and funding is through the roof. That is a great example to look up if you're not real familiar with just even like the educational systemic racism built here in the city. And also, confronting and changing or challenging your own personal biases is a whole work that you should do. And then if you also don't know where to start, and hopefully if you're here, you've already started it, we have a plethora of resources that we'll be happy to share. And it's anything from podcasts to articles to YouTubes. We'll be happy to share that with you. And that means at home, you're engaging in anti-racist conversations with your kids, you're reading the books, and you're exposing them to diversity. And we want to make sure that they're building in that empathy and teaching about racial injustices and understanding unique challenges that are faced by Black and Brown and Indigenous people. Is there any questions? All right, and so when you're being an ally, your first is to like listen first. And anytime you're having a conversation, you're going to be uncomfortable. And I'm uncomfortable having to have the conversation with you. If I see the harm, you're probably uncomfortable being like called out, so to speak. But just listen, because we're not making things up. If it happened, it happened. And so you're going to lean into that discomfort and you're going to understand intent versus impact. And it would be great for you to like take responsibility and reflect. And sometimes you just might need to say, I have to sit with it to process it, maybe go look through some resources to see why you did it and like fully understand the harm behind it. And also hold each other accountable in order for us to continue to have a safe space, especially for our kids. And we want to make sure that we're centering like our kids' experience, for our kids to have a safe experience. We hold each other accountable so that this can be and have a positive environment. All right, now to co-op. So for co-op, we do ask that you attend at least 2 field trips before registering. And this is more so that you get to know us and we get to know you, and you vibe to see if you're vibing with us, if we're vibing with you. So please to attend 2 events, and you'll be able to know. Your kids may not develop those deep friendships in the moment, but I will say our parents are pretty chatty for the most part. Not Nikisha. Nikisha, you got to warm up to she's got to warm up to you. But we are pretty chatty, and you'll get a vibe of who we are. And hopefully, it's a good fit. And if it's not, it's okay. No harm, no foul. We're not going to take it personal. I hope you don't take it personal. It's just not a good fit. And then we do ask that you do a background check for the adults that's registering, especially the ones that are going to teach the class. We ask that you submit 2 class ideas. And the reason why we're asking for 2 is because we're navigating schedules for 4 different age groups. And we don't want, like, if, the 3 parents who want to teach the apples and they all offer science, that's not super productive. And so we're like trying to play and move things around so that the kids have a super diverse schedule, because they don't want to do like two back, like a writing, and a science, because that's not productive for anyone. They're going to check out. And so that is the reason why we ask for 2 class ideas when you're submitting your application. And then the other thing is that you keep your word and uphold a culture of respect, inclusivity, and be culturally aware. And if someone's like, you just don't understand someone's other culture, ask questions, get curious. Don't decide like that's not for you and not engage. Like, this is about everybody learning and everyone growing. And then we have a Level Up Co-op Teacher Development Workshop. This is more so, I like to use the word thought partners, but we can like think through class ideas. We share a list of different classes. Also, I think sometimes we're used to like teaching our own kids at home, and we don't know necessarily, or we have to be reminded like, hey, you are the teacher in your space. Don't forget to like set a class norm so that all the kids are respectful of you and each other and the space in itself. And so it's just giving you guys like tips that we hopefully that you guys find helpful. The reason why we have that class is because we do surveys for everything. And parent feedback was like they would like more support before going into the semester. And so we take time out to do something very similar like this. And then we have like a Q&A, and everyone just shares resources. All right, so for we're spring of 2025. We're going to meet on Wednesday.
I always miss something.
It's okay. We're not robots. Wednesday from 10 to 2:30, and then we do meet at Woodlawn Point. Woodlawn is such a special place. If you guys, you guys probably know, but being a secular cooperative is challenging in the sense that usually co-ops meet at churches, but when churches, get to know our mission, they're like, red flag. And so then we're like, red flag, we just want to give you some money, but they don't want our money sometimes. And so when we reached out to Woodlawn was like, yes, you absolutely could come here. We support your mission. And so we are outgrowing it a little bit, but we definitely are committed to the work Woodlawn does. And so they are very, what would you describe Woodlawn? It's not a spiritual center. I guess it is a community center, but they have some really cool nonprofits. So they have like Fiesta Youth, which is a queer affirming nonprofit, Project Prom Dress. They have immigration services. It is a safe space for people who are seeking assistance for immigration. And so there's some other ones I'm not super familiar with, but those in itself are cool enough. Oh, and they have like a gay, I think they're called the Gay Theater or something like that, and they're senior citizens who put on a production. So it's just a cool vibe. And then we are starting back January 22nd. Right, and these are we ask the classes that you teach that they fit in one of these categories. So we have STEM, fine arts, entrepreneurship, cultural unit studies, social emotional learning. And so whenever you're trying to figure out what class you're offering, please, they have a pride group, yes. Please make sure it falls in one of these categories. Okay, and classes that will work for co-op, classes that you find that are hard to teach at home. So Nancy didn't talk about it, but I enjoyed her communications class. And so the most fun activity I thought was she engaged with the kids. Like they had to there was one person who was like it, and they had to follow the directions of the class. And so they had peanut butter, they had bread, they had a knife, like, butter knife. And then they had to figure out how to communicate effectively for this kid to follow the directions to like make a peanut butter sandwich. So if they said like pick up the bread, so they would pick up the bread, and then they're saying, well, then spread the peanut butter on the bread. And if the bread's not open, then it's like they rip it open and like spread the peanut butter with their hands. But they're like, no, you should have used the knife. So like, and it was funny and messy all at once. But it really was a good experience for the kids to learn in a community space on like how to effectively communicate.
It was a fun class.
Huh?
It was a fun class.
It was a fun class. And then like classes that benefit from an audience. Another great example is Nicole Donnellan did the Wax Museum. Man, Like we had a Michael Jackson, we had a Selena, like it was a Beyonce. And so that we appreciated like that audience impact. And then classes that are collaborative and classes where hands-on experiments and demonstrations. So like Nikisha's class, all I know is I got sent home with a poop experiment on how your body absorbs nutrients.
Sorry.
My dirty little boy enjoyed it. So these are like hands-on experiments that the kids will enjoy. And then our membership fee. So I think we're relatively affordable compared to other co-ops. We are charging $125 per family per semester, and this doesn't include supply fees or background checks. We didn't charge a supply fee this past semester because we were seeing if we could afford it. We definitely can't afford covering supplies with it. So that was an expensive lesson learned. But when we were collecting supply fees, we were charging per kid, and they were about $15 to $25 in that range per kid. It just depended on what classes were being offered and what supplies were needed. So like the dissection class required a lot more than opposed to like our anti-racist cooking class. And so the fees varied for the different groups a little bit. And then our new application process: attend 2 FTC events, fill out the application. Saturday's the deadline. If you haven't filled it out, it's okay, me either. There's just so many classes to choose from. I haven't quite decided. I thought I wanted to teach like a feminism class, but now I don't know because I saw this other like Underground Railroad class. So anyway, so if you haven't, the deadline is the 16th. So if you're a new co-op member, we'll let you know if you got selected. We honestly, at this point, don't know how many spaces we're going to have. It depends on who doesn't turn in their application to come back by Saturday. So then we'll know how many spaces we have available. And then you won't be required to pay until we notify you of the 125. And if you need like more time to pay it out, just communicate it, because we always want things that we do to be accessible. And we don't know that it's not accessible to you if you just don't communicate it to us. And so we can break it up into payments. We've done it before. We're happy to do it again, and just communicate, because we want everyone to be able to be a part of it and not miss out because of something like that. And then submit your lesson plan. So once we tell you you're selected, we'll tell you like which class is going to be the right fit. And then you need to build out a lesson plan. And it sounds like it's a lot of work to do at the front end, but once you're in the 6 weeks, it's definitely worth like you having the plan. And it also helps us know what's going on. In case you're absent, we can go in and fill that space. But we really just ask that each day you give us information about what they're learning about, or like what the objective is, and then like if there's a hands-on activity, what that looks like. Because a lot of the feedback we're getting, we do say that our feedback is steered by our kids when they give us these surveys. And when we get these surveys back, they give us paragraphs. And so we're like, okay, I don't know who's worse, the parents or the kids, because I know like we laugh and joke, but one kid, she's notorious for giving us at least 4 to 5 paragraphs each survey about everything. And then it's like a breakdown of each class. And then, so now I think the kids are feeling empowered because we're getting more paragraphs. And the biggest thing is that they want to have like an activity to do. And they also will let you know if they feel like the adult wasn't prepared to teach them. And I'm like, well, dang, thank y'all. So that is part of the feedback. And then these are just the dates if you want to screenshot them. If you're a calendar person, the application deadline, and then we'll offer you the spots, and then what the class announcement will be on the 22nd. And then we'll have our virtual meeting for December 5th. And we're trying to get a lot of this hard stuff done, like the schedule for the classes and like the lesson plans all done, so that we're not working over the holidays, because I don't want to spend my holidays doing this. So please have everything turned in so we're not having to like miss out time with our own families. and make sure that the lesson plans are due by the 13th. And then we'll have like a welcome day back or like a open house on the 15th. So you guys will have like an activity. We'll go over like our handbooks and then just like for the kids to hang out. A lot of times it's only planned for like an hour, 2 hours, but we end up staying most of the day because the kids are like playing board games or doing get to know you activities, especially with the new families. And then we have our first day of co-op on the 22nd. Oh, our lesson plans will be through the Google Forms, and then you can lay out all of your information, like the class description, your details of what curriculums you're using, any hands-on activities, and then also like your supplies. Please let us know accurately, like if you could go in and do like find the specific supply you need, and let us know. That way, what we like to do is you guys pay the supply fee and then we order in bulk. That way, usually it comes out cheaper that way, and we can make sure everyone has what they need on the day of the start date.
I will say for the current members that are coming back, we are changing it for the lesson plan submission to be a Google form that we're going to send to you instead of Word docs and all the things, because we had a hard time finding everybody's plans all in one place when we went to go get supplies, and we just don't want to miss anything. So after the classes are chosen, you'll get an email that has the link to the Google form to fill out.
All right, so some past classes. I think these are all really fun classes. And I think we had like really big memories around a lot of them. Like I said, I spoke about the Harlem Renaissance, and it was a whole unit study. We did the mock trial with Jessica. That was super fun. The cultural, I taught that cultural diversity in art. So we focused on artists of color, and then we would do replicas of their artwork. Anti-Racist Kitchen, that was fun. They're currently taking the Cesar Chavez book study, so they're reading a graphic novel biography of Cesar Chavez, and Kia is teaching the historical perspectives of the N-word, so they're learning about the N-word, like it's harmful, and like how some communities decided to take it back, and should certain people learn to talk about, like, use it. So she's really pushed them and taught them like to have the discussions even at home with their family. They did a dissection class. The Google Workspace class was fun. Both of my kids, it's so funny. I think they were at the library trying to get their library card, and my oldest asked to update her information, and she wanted to give them her email. And so she got her email, like figured out how to do an email, how it works, email safety in the Google Workspace class. And she's like, you have your own email? And she's like, of course. And then the financial literacy class. So those are just some ideas if you're thinking, like if you're not sure which direction to go with your class, that is some idea. Attendance, we hope that you are here every co-op class. We hope that you only have 2 absences per semester, and like we are a cooperative, we don't have substitutes or anything, so like your presence is needed, and you only teach 6 classes for like 45 minutes for the semester. So when you miss one class, that's a lot of information and opportunity the kids missed out on. And if you do have to miss each class, it's you, and then you have a support teacher. So usually if you're missing, the support teacher will come in and teach the rest of your lesson for that day. Make sure that you notify them so that they know that they're going to be teaching your class solo, and that you email or share any documents or files that are going to be needed, so that that's not a wasted class time. That's not a waste of class time. And then members with consistent, attendance issues, if you're just not showing up and you're struggling, you could lose your early registration privileges and risk losing your spot in co-op. I will say for the last like 2 semesters, we end up with a waiting list of people. So if you're not able to like be committed to it, then we can pass it on. Why you laugh? Oh, they laugh because sometimes I'm a little direct. And then all of our communication. So all of you guys are in our big group for the culture. And so we do have a secondary group that is private, and it's only for people who are in our Wednesday co-op classes. And the way you can decipher between the two is this one has it has like a little purple icon logo if you're on your phone with it. And it specifically says co-op on it. We communicate via in that group a lot, and a lot of times we share pictures of the day so everyone can see, because I have 3 kids. I can't be in all my kids' classes, so it's really nice when other parents take pictures and we can see, what the kids did in all the other classes. And then we just make announcements. We do a lot of what are they called, like celebrate, not date, like we have pajama day,
Spirit days.
Yeah, we have spirit days and all of that, and reminders and events are posted in that group specifically. And we also email. So I like to joke that we overly communicate about all of the things. So, and if we miss a beat, just let us know. And also, if you are teaching a class and it requires homework, Jen posts a graphic and you can put underneath there what homework your kid has. So like for my class, we're reading the book. They're doing a Jose Marti, who was a Cuban activist poem. They're doing like a verse. So that was their homework for my class. And so everyone's homework is announced there. Ask for help. So, and don't be shy. We don't bite. I know I have a strong personality and, it could be a lot sometimes, but just send me a message. I won't bite you through message. Jen does too. Kia does too. Or I'm happy to reach out to some of our already co-op members. If you just have any questions, and I know like Amanda, Michael's wife, is interested in co-op. So we've been going back and forth about information about a class, and she's not in co-op yet. So I've been happy to help her. And if you're too shy to reach out to us, you can also email hello@fortheculturehomeschool.com, and one of us will get back to you relatively quickly to answer your questions or offer any resources. Oh, Nancy said, I was going back and forth with Nancy today, being a thought partner. Thank you. And we do have a handbook. Check out our handbook. It does list our co-op policies and our parents' responsibilities and just more details on our mission and who we are. That way you could get to know us a little bit better. Does anybody have questions?
I wanted to ask, do you guys think this co-op will be good for a kid that has like mild ADHD?
Well, I will tell you, a large percentage of our kids do have ADHD.
Okay.
A lot of the parents do too.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
Because it sounds so structured, and I'm like, I don't know. Because he does have ADHD, and this co-op will be mainly for him. I do have 3 kids, but I'm just trying to get him, into something where he can learn and also, find people that are like him and make friends as well. So I wanted to know that.
I would say, yeah, we are a little more structured, but because we do have like class time periods and, the kids are going through lessons. But if I'm being transparent, a lot of our kids are neurodivergent on like the spectrum of things. So yeah, there are kids with a lot of different abilities in the space.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
The class periods are like 45 minutes. I think we might be pushing them to an hour. But as you can tell from the classes we were talking about, they're interesting. Like we're doing enrichment classes for the most part. And that's a lot of what we're talking about is making sure they're hands-on. And we also, everybody is very, we have kids who will walk out, go talk to their parents if they need to, or we're pretty, as long as it's not fully distracting from what's happening. Yeah, it's very flexible.
Okay.
There
Okay.
are lots of neurospicy kids.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. How are kids grouped? Like how do you guys group them for their classes?
You want me to answer, Ashley? They are grouped by age. So on the application, we ask for the birthdays, and we haven't been, because we're a small co-op, we can't say like this class is exactly these ages and this class is exactly those ages, and it stays the same. Currently, our max in a group is 10 kids, and we have fewer on the younger end, so we put them directly in order by their birthdays, and the oldest 10 kids are in the first group, and then the next 10 kids are in the next group. I I will say this last time, the oldest group was 13 and up. The second group from there was 100% 12-year-olds. Below that was 10 and 11. And then the youngest was it 7 to 9 or 8 and 9? 8 and 9. Uh-huh. So assuming most everyone comes back, it'll be around that same way, but that's how we group them. We haven't had to really move any. That's worked out. And because all the classes are sort of taught in a hands-on way that can be sort of flexed. When we first started, we were doing cottage co-op at my house, and Ashley's how old was Kari? Was like 7?
No, she was 6.
6. And so we had a 6-year-old and all the way up to like 13, 14. Was Joy 14 then? So but now they're more grouped closer to their age.
Yeah, that was really hard to differentiate, but we had her doing Harlem Renaissance stuff. So we made her hang in there, and I think if you meet her, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But we definitely we're like, well, you can color this, whatever they're doing, color on the worksheet, but you got to receive the information or listen to the book that's being played. But yeah, it was interesting. Okay, well, if there's no questions, and if you do have
I have
questions,
another question.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, was there somebody else speaking?
It's okay. You go first. I'll wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my name is Wendy, and I believe I have spoken to Ashley over Messenger. I had a question in regards to the 2 events. We just started homeschooling November 1st due to just high anxiety, and our daughter has been thriving since we pulled her out of school. So we're really excited for this. And social interactions are really important for her. So we're looking for a community where she can continue to thrive. So I'm wondering if I was hoping to go to the Friendsgiving event, and then I'm also hosting the November 26th trail walk, because that's the earliest that it worked for everybody. So I'm not sure if that really would count, or if we just kind of have to wait and do some of the events until the next co-op opens up to kind of be considered.
Well, that counts because that's before we actually start in January, because then that still gives you a great opportunity to get to know us and we get to know you. And then if you're like, you know what, these people are crazy, it's not for us, then you could just bow out, and you're not, we're not having to scramble to fill that seat in January.
Well, but actually it really is for that point, the reason is before it's with the applications, so that when we fill the spots and we fill up classes and stuff, we can't really have anybody dropping out in December.
Oh, we can. It'll be fine. I don't want to scramble in January. I can do it in December. It's okay.
Yeah, but you only have to meet me once or twice before.
No, I'm warning you about us. No, we're intense.
And I used to own an outdoor school for 3 to 5-year-olds, and I also used to teach kindergarten. So I'm kind of using this environment, although I've gotten out of it for a long time already. So I'm kind of excited to get back into teaching a little bit. So, but yeah, looking forward to getting to know you.
Welcome. Oh, who else had the other question?
Hi there. I'm Michelle. And my daughter Penelope is attending Girls Inc. on Thursdays, which she loves, and I love the whole program. So I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with some of the information. I just need some more clarification and to process it some more. So with teaching a class, so each class is the schedule is 6 weeks. So let's say, I'm not saying I'm going to submit this as an example, but it just popped in my head, cooking class, it would need to be 6 classes for the whole 6 weeks? Or is it oh, this week we have this class and the next week it's someone else's class?
No, it's 6 weeks. So it's kind of like a school semester. You know how they have report card transitions? No, so you teach for that first 6 weeks. So if you teach at 10 a.m. for 6 Wednesdays in a row for 45 minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
And then for the second half, well, usually new families, we don't have that, they don't need to teach the first 6 weeks. We have it split into 2 6-week sessions. And so you'll be an assistant teacher in the first 6 weeks, kind of getting your footing and seeing how it all works. And then you would teach the second 6 weeks. So yeah.
Say that at the beginning before the heart palpitations.
Oh
No, we had a new teacher who did decide to teach first because she was teaching about a mock election, and she not only taught first, but she also taught 2 groups. But that was fully her own volunteering to do. So yes, no, you wouldn't have to teach in the first 6 weeks, but you would when you're not teaching. You're assigned to be an assistant in one other class, just so that we have a backup if we need a substitute somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Who am I? What would I teach? And I'm thinking like, oh, what about Anne Frank following her journey? I'm not sure. Hey, Penelope.
Well, and once you see it, I will also say our kids and the kids in general, like, they are really excited to learn. And a lot of times what we end up finding more than not is that they wish the classes were longer, that you have a hard time compacting all the information that you want in there. Definitely looking on like Teacher Pete Teacher. I would definitely say when you're first starting, finding a curriculum, a little unit study or something will make it easier. A lot of us, we do end up like modifying things, but having some sort of framework helps it to be less overwhelming.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, that definitely helps. Just because, I would like to see first and then model off of that. And excuse my pig, she's just mad because she hears me and she's in her kennel.
Hey, did you say pig? Oh, she
Yes.
said pig? Oh, I was
Yes.
like, did I hear things?
No, pig. We have a house pig, so like a dog, but a pig. Her name's Petunia, and she hears me out here, so she's mad. She's in her kennel.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we have chickens in our backyard. We probably have like 40 bunnies free roaming in our backyard. So lots of animals. Just don't tell my HOA.
Oh, and also just to piggyback off of Michelle saying the Girls Inc. So for the culture, we got to partner with Girls Inc. this semester, and they offered them STEM classes. So Thursdays are like drop-off classes, and they went from 11 to 1 o'clock, and they did like, I think, leadership type things in the morning, and then it transitioned into STEM. So today, they were learning about bridges. And then at the end of the day, they came out with their model bridges that they made and like why they chose the material, the history of the bridge. And they all had different bridges from around the world and like the history of the bridge, the importance of the bridge. And we all got to see like their engineering project, and they worked in groups. So it was pretty cool. Oh, Michael just hearted. Michael was there. He got to see the coolness. And so we are working to start back with them. So if you have a girl or a person that identifies as a she, they're welcome to join. And so we're working out like if it's going to be the same fee or what, and we'll definitely share more information in the group. But it is a really cool program, and they didn't know how to work with homeschoolers initially, and we were like, oh, let us show you. And so we were welcomed back. And so we're working to get that information out for this, like the spring half, if you will. So if you have questions about the Girls Inc., just let me know as well.
I have one more question. So I have a four-year-old, and I wanted to know if she would be able to also join the co-op. She is a very, very mature 4-year-old, probably more mature than my 6-year-old. And she just thrives off of learning. Like when I'm focused on homeschooling him, she wants to always be in the mix and be like doing everything that he does. And I wanted to know if that would work out with this co-op. If not, it's fine. Just wanted to ask.
Well, I will say I think the age group's really big for like the 8-year-olds to the 10-year-olds, but I will say I have a 3-year-old and he and Miss Nikisha has a 4-year-old, and so they tag along, and she's so kind. And like they'll bring their own little toys, and they like hop in and out of like experiences. But I mean, if they're gonna be with you, that's fine because we are in a drop-off co-op. So I mean, I'm assuming they would be with you, and they could come because we are community space.
Okay, I also have this wild one. So he's 3 and he will be with me. But okay, I understand that. Thank you. They all just bombarded the room, so I'm gonna mute because it's about to get loud.
It does sound like a party over there. Okay.
They just got done eating, and the first thing they do is come and look for mommy.
Oh, and
Like their
Michael,
dad isn't out there.
and they'll have their 4-year-old as well in the space. So
Okay.
Actually, I have another question. So if we submitted a lesson plan, or yeah, we submitted our 2 ideas for a certain age group, but you guys already have enough classes for that age group, will you let us know, like, hey, can you change this to fit a younger age group? Or I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of wondering how you guys figure out the class schedule for the semester.
We haven't had to do that exactly yet. We've been able to work it out, but yeah, that's what we definitely would do. The way we've done the class ideas is different this time. The last couple of times we've asked for more details in the proposal. So definitely do check your email after. So we're going to meet like on Monday. So during the next week, we're going to be working on the schedule. So we may have questions, but we haven't had to switch anything up so far. And like we were saying, we've got a nice little middle school crew where most of the class, as long as if you were submitting for one of those ages, we can usually modify. Did I answer that? You look like you want to say something, Ashley.
oh no, and I was also going to say, you're not required to just teach your kids groups. One of my kids likes for me to teach, and the other one cringes when I teach them. So, and I know like Nicole didn't teach; she taught, and her kids weren't in her group this cycle. So don't feel like you're obligated to only teach. But if that's your preference, I think there's an option on the application to share that.
That was in the other one. So, but if you do have a preference, let us know. We made it shorter this time. Yeah.
And so that you can be with your kids, or if like Nicole does, also she rotates back, but some of our kids don't want us to rotate around to them, so that is your option too.
Got it. I hear you. I hear you.
If I've joined events previously, do I have to do those 2 visits count to sign up for this co-op this go around? Because I think it's been like,
No, I remember you, and you liked us enough to come back around, so we weren't that.
okay.
Okay, so if no one has questions, we are ending on time and respecting everyone's time. And if you do, shoot us an email or leave it a question on the group. We'll be happy to answer it. If there's nothing else, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and hopefully we see some of y'all tomorrow at the dodgeball play date.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
Bye. See y'all tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much. Good night.
Did it record?